Hi, I'm Christine Prey, class of 2017, and you're watching Dingo Talk.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour. My guest this week is Christine Prey, class of 2017. Christine's going to tell us about how she made it from Michigan to Bethany, how she made it from Bethany to Madrid, and what she's doing now with a bunch of stuff in between. Make sure you check out Chambers' new commercial. And without further ado, this is Christine Prey.
You wanna know by now. You wanna know by now. You wanna know by now. You wanna know. You wanna.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour. My guest this week is class of 2017, Christine Prey. Christine, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to do this the way we do every week. You're going to explain how you got to Bethany from, I believe, Michigan, correct?
hmm
So let's start there. How did you end up finding this corner of Brooke County?
So I was looking to swim in college. So I had this profile on NCSA, and the head coach at the time reached out to me, and I visited, and I just fell in love with the campus, and the deciding factor for me to go there was the Kalon scholarship that I earned, and that's what made me, make my decision. And then, yeah, now I'm there. It was really a great decision.
So when you got here, was college different than high school for you academically, or did you kind of transition quite well into it?
I transitioned pretty well. I would say the main difference about Bethany was its size. The high school I went to had 6,200 people, and Bethany had, not that. so, but as far as academics, I thought it was pretty smooth. Yeah.
Did you utilize the learning center, library? What was your studying tactics like?
So I pretty much from the beginning made sure I was on top of my studying. And with the swim team, freshmen had to do study hours twice a week in the library. So I was forced to study there as well. And then when we got, good enough grades, we didn't have to go, but I decided to stay and just keep going because it was a good excuse to, get some work done.
Well, so you brought up swimming. You had a pretty successful first 2 years in the swimming program, huh?
Yeah, it was a good time. I you know, broke 4 records my freshman year and then broke 2 more my sophomore year on top of some that I previously had. And then as well as one of our relays qualified for ECACs. And so we got to go there at University of Pittsburgh, and yeah, it was a really good experience.
What forced you or made you walk away from swimming?
Well, I mean, I graduated. I did it my junior and my senior year. I
I
just
thought you stopped. That's my fault. My
no,
notes were wrong.
no, I did it my junior and my senior year. I think the main thing that made me so successful my freshman and sophomore year was I was swimming, I was coming off of high school in a year-round swim team, and after when I joined the college swim team, I didn't really keep up with that throughout the summer. I did it casually, so I think it may have affected my junior and senior year, but I did well. I just didn't re-break the records that I had or anything. But yeah.
Social life at Bethany for you. So you joined a sorority. What was that
Yeah.
experience like? And was that something
It
that you
was
always decided you were gonna like when you came into school? Was that what you were going to do, or just out of the blue?
No, I really had no opinion on Greek life before coming to Bethany. And then I saw that, all of my friends, they were Greek or they were thinking about going Greek. And it's really like a big driving factor at Bethany. So I decided to go through recruitment and I joined Phi Mu, and it was the greatest decision I think I made at Bethany because I've made so many friends, and my best friends that are from Bethany I found in Phi Mu.
So what drove the decision for Phi Mu? What was that solidified it?
Phi Mu was definitely the house where I knew the least amount of women before going in. And yeah, I still felt the most comfortable. And I feel like that is a lot to be said, for not knowing anybody, but to still feel like I was a part of it and I was welcome there. It just made me feel really comfortable. I really like their philanthropy, Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Um, it's close to my heart. So I really loved it. It was kind of inexplicable almost the reason I decided to go there, but I'm really happy I did.
Any other things that you would like to talk about that happened in the social life of Bethany here at this small little school of ours since that was pretty much all you could do other than go to class, or is
I would say swimming and FIMU were like my two really big social aspects at Bethany. You know, I was in clubs here and there, but none of them were as I wasn't as much of a part of them as I was FIMU and swimming.
so you went abroad? Was that after you graduated, or was that during your time here at Bethany?
So the first time I went, I did like a study abroad program for a month in Madrid, Spain. You know, just to do some of the classes, so they would transfer. And then after I applied to a master's program there. It was like a teach and learn program. So I was studying for my master's and teaching at the same time, like a TA position. So I got my master's degree in international education in 1 year. And then I spent a second year there just teaching English and like doing a little bit more traveling in Madrid. So I spent 2 years there after college total.
And was there a reason that you picked, like, why did you end up going to Madrid, I guess is the question. Why was that?
Yeah. So the first time Dr. Lovano had recommended the program to me, and then Madrid, it was the best fitting program because I think another program, it had to be in the middle of swim season and I didn't want to do that. So this was a summer program for a month and I had time to go home, you know, pack and then get there. And it was a month and then I just fell in love with it. And so I was just trying to go back. And that's when Dr. Lovano again told me about the graduate program at University of Alcalá. And that's why I applied, because I just really wanted to go back for a couple of years.
Well, so I think that's a good place. We'll take a pause right here. I'm going to send it to Harry. You know, we're going to talk about Chambers, because if you came to Bethany and didn't go to Chambers, then you didn't actually come to Bethany. And Chambers doesn't have it, you don't really need it. You can get that on a t-shirt. They're still being sold right now. So make sure if you're in the town or you want to slide onto their Facebook, you can order it through that. This is Christine Prey, class of 2017. I am Carlo Guadagnino, and this is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour, and we'll be right back.
While you're in Bethany, make sure you stop in the store for a daily lunch special, breakfast sandwiches all day. Try out the biscuits and gravy, guaranteed it'll fill you up. And also look for our new burnt orange Chambers, if we don't have it, you don't need it t-shirts, and our psychedelic green 3rd edition Bethany Mushroom Capital of the World t-shirts. Now back to you, Dingo.
What's going on, Chuckleheads? I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour. My guest this week is Christine Prey, class of 2017. We left off talking about Christine's time in Madrid and some of the things she did at Bethany. We're now going to talk about that test that connects pretty much every one of us, except for a couple people. Comps. So you said that you were already pretty good at studying. What was your method going into comps? And were you a January or a May comper?
So I comped in January. I remember comps being really hard for me because, I majored in Spanish and, you know, so my comps were, you know, mostly in Spanish. And I was having a lot of trouble just remembering all of the information just because it was in a different language. So I remember I had a little room in the library and I had to remember like these timelines of like Spanish literary history and Latin American literary history. And I had like written a whole timeline all around the room. And I spent the majority of my time studying that. And then so when it came to like, you know, the short answer, which should not have been as hard as it was a little bit harder for me. And I think that really, you know, it didn't cost me because obviously I passed, but I was really hoping to do better on that section, but I just couldn't remember because I was so focused on, you know, the really long parts. But, you know, I passed and it was like 8 hours a day of just studying and going crazy, but it was worth it because I feel like I really, you know, walking out of comps, I was like, I finally did it. I feel like I've actually done something to earn this graduation on top of these 4 years, you know? So I think comps is stressful, but it's a really unique experience.
Would you recommend, or is there any recommendations for studying that you would give to a current senior that's getting ready, either going into winter or May comps?
I would say it doesn't help to get super stressed out. I know it's a stressful situation, right? But it doesn't help to just think about how stressful it is, like you need to give yourself time to take a break. If you just keep studying and you get overwhelmed, it's not helpful for you. It just makes everything worse. So I would, relax and just don't be so hard on yourself, because if you've done the work, you're going to do fine.
Well said. So you graduate and then you end up back in Madrid. Now let's talk about that, because you taught out in Madrid, correct?
Yes.
How did that experience go?
It was interesting. So I taught English. They have like bilingual schools.
Mhm.
So my first year when I was earning my master's, I taught primary school, which I taught like first to fourth grade. That was a very difficult experience because I was not allowed to speak Spanish and I could only speak English to them. And fourth grade was actually pretty good because they had a high enough level of English to have a fairly fun conversation with me. But first grade, it was really hard because I could only say certain words that they would understand. My second year, I taught in secondary, which was 7th to your senior year in high school. And that was difficult in its own way because the content was a little more advanced, but the conversations were so much more detailed and so much fun. And so it was really interesting because I taught when I came back to America, and just like comparing the two was just the culture is really different over there. Like they referred to me as Christine, and in America they referred to me as Miss Prey.
So what is that they get so comfortable with their teachers that you're on a first name basis, or how does that work? Because that's a foreign to me. I don't think I've ever called a teacher by the first name.
Yeah, it was really weird at first. They just called me, they either said like teacher or profe or Christine. A lot of times Christina, because they couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that, Christine. I think they just like they want to be viewed as more comfortable. I'm not really sure the reasoning behind it, but it was really different because when I came back to America, they were like, "Are you going to be called Miss Prey?" And I was like, "Oh, I forgot that they don't."
Yeah,
I'm not Christine here. Yeah, but it kind of was cool because I felt like it made them feel a little bit more comfortable with you. And I feel like teachers, you have this idea that they don't have lives outside of school and they just appear in the building and then they just disappear. And in Spain they understood like that we are actual people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you came back, you taught, how long, so you were there, you taught in Madrid for 2 years and then came back?
Mm-hmm.
And then how long did you teach in America, and where did you teach?
I taught at a small private school called Japhet School. I taught a 3rd and 4th grade split class. And then I was like the interim Spanish teacher for a little bit while we were looking for a new one for like preschool to 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I
wait, I gotta stop you there. We're teaching preschoolers Spanish now too?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's very
I missed out on that.
How common it is. Yeah, it was very basic. Like they learn a color and a shape each month, and so I just kind of redid it in Spanish. Mm-hmm. So I would teach on like Yellow Star for a whole month, and it was only 15 minutes once a week. So it was just kind of getting the basis. But so I knew my mom had known somebody from that who had worked at that school, and so she had put the word out, and so I just applied, and I got the job. So I taught there for 2 years. I actually resigned from there in June to pursue another opportunity. Yeah, so I have a new job now.
Well, so how did the teaching side? So you were in the schools during COVID. How did that factor into your decision to leave, or was it just a better opportunity for what you wanted to do?
So teaching was never really on my career radar. I think it's just kind of what happened. Because I went to Spain and taught, so it was just like a good next step for me. Mm-hmm. However, I was kind of looking for a new opportunity, but I think that teaching kind of helped me learn these like transferable skills to the current job that I have now.
And what is your current job now?
I work at a company called SME. It's a nonprofit that it's like a manufacturing type industry. So my branch puts on trade shows. So our upcoming trade show is all about additive manufacturing, 3D printing. So I'm helping create like a hybrid model of it so that it's in person and on an app. So I'm like dealing with exhibitors and helping them build their online booths and getting all of their information from them to help set up the events.
And is this a career field that was on your radar from the beginning, or is it just, again, a better opportunity came along and you're dabbling in it?
I never really had like, I feel like when you're a kid, you always say, I want to be a vet when I grow up, or I want to be a firefighter. And I never really knew what I wanted to be. So I knew that teaching maybe wasn't on my radar ever. But I like this a lot because I think that it's really innovative and it's a new type of thing. They recently made these positions to be able to create a hybrid. And I like working with people. I like to help. I do like education, and SME has a education foundation, and they help students with like scholarships and stuff for people who want to go into engineering, manufacturing, that sort of thing. So I'm still not sure what I want to do, but I do really like this a lot.
Okay. We kind of skipped over it in the beginning of this segment, but so you got your master's in Madrid. Where did you get your master's at?
It's called Universidad de Alcalá. It's like a little suburb. It's a university in the suburb of Madrid called Alcalá de Henares. Mm-hmm.
And why go and get your master's? Because was it in teaching? Is that what it ended up being?
It was in international education, so more of an administrative side of it.
Okay.
I had originally gone into it thinking that I would like to do maybe, travel abroad admissions, or like international admissions, something like that. I never really had a plan, but I honestly went there because I wanted to go to Spain and I could earn a master's out of it. And, it was, I had tuition remission. It was just a really good opportunity, and I got paid on top of it, So that's why I never really had like, I want to go to Madrid for this reason, for this master's. It just all kind of worked out, kind of things I wanted to do.
Absolutely. So the last two questions, you were a Division III athlete and you obviously came to Bethany. First question, why Division III? If you're talking to a swimmer right now, why would you, what is Division III in your eyes?
Division III to me is something where, you can do what you love without the pressure of it not being fun anymore. I feel like I was looking at some D2 schools, a couple of D1s, but I almost wasn't going to swim in college. And so I think, having the pressure of a scholarship, athletic scholarship would take all the fun out of it. That's why I liked D3. I just felt like it was something I could be competitive. I could still work hard. I could still train hard. I didn't get any worse because of, where I went. I got better, definitely. And it was just fun. And I felt like there was, if I went there because I wanted to go there. I didn't go there because I had to. And I think that's the biggest thing about D3 for me, is like, you actually want to do it. And
then why Bethany?
I had a really good trip, a recruiting trip there. I really loved the campus. It's the most beautiful campus I've ever seen. I really think I do better in a small environment. So, small class sizes, small campus. It was a lot easier to get involved. It was a lot easier to meet people. And I just really like the sense of community at Bethany. I never felt like an outcast, or I never felt like I couldn't talk to somebody, or I didn't have friends.
Well, Christine, that is a phenomenal wrap up to this. I want to say thank you again for being a part of it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good luck with the app and such.
Thank you.
This has been Christine Prey, class of 2017. I am Carlo Guadagnino. This is the Dingo Talk Alumni Tour, and we'll see you guys next week at 10 o'clock.
Know by now. You wanna know by now. You wanna know by now. You wanna know.